There we go. All right, without further ado, put yourself back in September 30th, I believe, of 1957, on the way to the NRHS convention, and we will take a ride.
I was going to say it looked like a babyface Jersey Central unit up at the front.
Whoever the photographer was must have been coming down from the Northeast, is the only thing I can figure.
Mm.
And here we are.
There's Ken Miller's font. Oh, that's at Bristol. No, that's Abingdon. Never
Yeah,
mind.
that's Abingdon, and that's the original station before they built the brick station.
Yep.
It ran the 1910s, and that's an M. And that's a
Oh,
mixed freight that's going to go down the branch, I guess.
well, this is maintenance away,
Oh,
and then
Yeah.
tucked in behind it, you've got the excursion train. Now, my question is, I know what a double header is, that when or multiple header is when you have two locomotives on the front, but what happens when you're running two trains connected like this? Is there a special name for that?
Well, as I understand it, on that branch, some of the bridges were lightweight enough that they couldn't run them connected together, so they had to space them out. So if
Ah,
you look at some of the photos on the branch, yeah, they would when they would do that when they had special movements that one would be at the front, the other would be mid train, sort of like this. But
all right.
this is
well, and
unusual because of the maintenance of way equipment in the front. I guess they were taking somewhere there.
yeah, and the second half of that train is the regular train, scheduled
Mm-hmm.
train.
Yeah, that's
Well,
the.
it's an
I think.
augmentation of the regular train because
Mhm.
the
They
regular
added the
train
gondolas.
was a one coach and a baggage mail, if I
It's
remember
mail, yeah.
correctly,
Mhm.
at least in the later days.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
And
well, that
since
was a standard consist, but for the excursion, they may have added some other
yeah,
yeah, they got
gondolas,
a
for people to.
yeah, they had the guns on the back. And
plus I believe it's multiple coaches too. We'll see here in a
mhm.
minute.
Now the town they blew through, couldn't tell whether that was Damascus or one of the other towns on the branch. I don't think it was Damascus, because Damascus had a weird configuration where it was almost the branch kind of curved around and there was almost a Y there, if I remember my track charts right. So it might have been Taylor's Valley or somewhere. No, it wasn't Taylor's Valley. That was on a curve.
We'll we will dissect it uh second run through. There you go. There's the Gons you were talking about, Frank.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, they were just tacked onto the regular train. You can see the
Mm-hmm.
railway postal clerk in the RPO car.
Yeah. It looked like there are two cars of freight in front of the MOW cars. So,
Yeah. It's weird. You'll see later on they drop those freight cars off
mm-hmm.
somewhere separate from the maintenance way stuff. It's an interesting run.
Well, it was a local freight, so or a mixed train, so they were
Mm-hmm.
they were picking up and setting off freight cars as though it was just a regular run, aside from the Gons.
Now, I think that may be Damascus, if I remember the locations right, because it was right next to the state highway through there. Yeah, I think that may be Damascus.
That farmer there reminds me of my granddad in his overalls.
Yep,
Yeah,
Yep,
it
you're
is
right.
Damascus.
Damascus. That could well be where they separated the train and had the maintenance
Mm-hmm.
way train going to Damascus, and then let the regular scheduled train continue on down the valley.
Yep, yeah. Man, those maintenance away cars are still in that cream and brown scheme.
Yep.
And the depot's in the white and green. And that's the 382 before they lowered the headlight to the center.
Yep.
What are all the oil tank cars there behind the station?
That's a good question.
Like 4 or 5 of them.
You're going to make me
Well-
dig out my track chart. I don't know if they had an oil dealer there or not.
Yeah, if it wasn't there, it could have been someplace
Yeah.
else, or it could have been required for the maintenance away equipment too.
Yeah. And I think we stayed at a B&B near that bridge last year before the hurricane hit. It was just,
So is that just outside of Damascus?
I think so. I have to dig into my photos, but yeah, I mean, I have some photos of that.
Kind of interesting to see those, I don't know, late 1800s or early 1900s signal lines that kind of just have that different look to them.
Mm-hmm. And they don't have the N&W spark arresters either.
Well, yeah, this branch did not have telegraph. It only had telephone service. And
okay.
so there were 2 pairs of wires, one for the 2 telephone lines. One was a message line. The other one was, I suppose, a dispatcher line.
Okay.
Signaling. Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't. What was characteristic about the lines elsewhere was that it was carrying power to the intermediate stations, and probably everybody down here was just kerosene lights and
Yep.
no other real electricity.
Yeah, Winston Link talked about sometimes the depot had the only phones in town when he first started going down that way. So
That's true.
now, if I'm not mistaken, are those brown roofs on there that we've had arguments on the listserv over whether they actually existed?
I can't tell. They look dirty gray
gray
black
to
to
me.
me.
Dirty gray black to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
the same
By
here.
the late 50s, they were black. According
It looks like it's still coupled on to the maintenance away equipment up at the front.
So we got a baggage mail and then a couple of PG coaches
Yep.
and then 2 excursion guns.
Excursion guns, yeah. Yeah, they normally carried 1 PG coach. Looked like they had an extra coach and 2 guns for that trip. So
Yep. Lots of rabid rail fans here.
yeah.
If they had that much traffic on a regular day, they'd probably be still in business.
True. Now, who's going to argue what color that was? I know
Yeah.
the film may have shifted, but man,
Look at the insulators on the poles. You're going to see 2 white ones. That's a dispatcher line.
Oh, did you say dispatcher line?
The dispatcher line is the white insulators.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The blue ones are the message line.
Now, if I remember right, there were only so many M's they used on that line because they needed the ones that had superheaters installed. And I know of 4 of them that had that. There were probably a few more, but I think the 382, the 396, the 429, and the 433 were kind of regulars on that line, with the 382 and the 396 probably being the most common. And they're better dressed than fans today.
That's a fact. Oh, so they're at a water tank there. You should be able to find where that is.
Yeah, that's probably Creek Junction. I couldn't say for sure, but yeah, I know they had a big water tank there.
That's probably likely. The nice thing is this is done in sequence, so that once you pin down one location, and the others will probably follow pretty well.
Yeah, I think that is Creek. You can still see the footings. I was down there last year. A buddy of mine did a bike trip. You can still see the footings there. I'd never noticed them before, but yeah, he pointed them out to me. They're huge concrete footings, which I guess, given the location, and there was a retaining wall there behind the tank, so it was interesting little location.
Well, there was a similar place on the C&O on the Virginia Airlines subdivision at Rockaway, and you could still see the footings there, even though the track has now been removed.
Oh, wow.
When I saw it, the track was still there. But yeah, it probably had a very similar tank on that
Yeah.
occasion.
Yeah. Some of these footings were like 3 feet out of the ground. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it looks like they set off that head end freight at Damascus and kept the maintenance away
Yeah.
with the
Way is still
excursion.
going there.
They were hauling them.
He's sure letting off a lot of steam.
Well, the fireman was working trying to keep up pressure heading up that grade. You didn't want to get behind.
I guess so, but you know, a lot of it's just going out of the
Yeah,
pop
he got
valve.
ahead. He got ahead of himself.
Well, I think, as I recall, White Top was the crest of that
Right.
grade.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So this must be getting close to that.
Yeah.
You can see some elevation there.
Yep.
On
Yeah.
crest.
Yeah, I don't know which bridge that is,
You
but
got
yeah.
a double bridge there. Looks
Yep.
like.
Yeah, well, again, looking at a track chart, you should be able to find that.
Yeah. I'm just not familiar enough with the line down there.
All right, you guys are going to make me go in the other room and dig out my track chart. I should have done that beforehand.
Oh, that's Green Cove.
Green Cove, yep. He's just pulling out of there.
And they dropped the maintenance away.
At Green Cove.
Well, no, yeah, they're still in there.
No, they
Oh, yeah,
unless
you're
that's
right. You're
different
right. They set
maintenance
them
away
off.
equipment that was already there.
Yeah, they set them up. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's some sitting on the side in there. Man, look at that old tender at the end of that.
Yeah.
strip.
With corn stalks up on the hill.
Yep.
What'd you
Oh,
say, Mike?
White Top.
there's White Top. Highest point.
I think they rebuilt that station on the trail, didn't they?
They did. It's a little larger. It looks similar, but it's not quite an exact replica that I guess the Park Service built up there, but it's nice. It's nice. And the trail continues. Well, officially it ends there, but you can ride about a half a mile beyond that. A buddy of mine and I did that last summer. You get to a road down there and it kind of ends, and there's some menacing no trespassing signs on the other side of it that basically imply you may be shot if you continue on. So, but yeah, it actually, I think you can ride on just to the edge of North Carolina, to the border, maybe just across it, but it's unofficial for sure. And those guns are pretty cool. It'd be neat to model those.
Yeah.
I don't imagine the FRA would allow those today, and they probably don't have tight lock couplers anyway.
Yeah, or the lawyers, I think.
They
Yeah.
they hardly allow excursions at all these days
Yeah.
due to insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
I saw tobacco in one of these films. That was some in that field just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not a farm boy, but yeah, if I remember right, yeah, you can still maybe see it growing if you ride the trail in the days before the hurricane destroyed the trail. You might still see some fields down there.
Yeah, it's definitely all through North Carolina.
Can't tell if that's the exchange for the mail or that's for the express.
Yeah.
It looks like express to me.
Probably is
baggage.
express.
And another water tank back there, off in the distance. West Jefferson now, okay.
So they're all the way at the end now.
Mm-hmm. I went through West Jefferson years ago. The first time I missed it because I guess it had been moved, but I think somebody may have saved the freight depot there, but it was in a different spot. It was kind of this was before the internet was really popular. I couldn't figure out exactly where the railroad was because they pretty much obliterated most of the traces of it unless you knew what you were looking for.
Yeah.
And there was a hobby shop in West Jefferson years ago. I remember.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. I think it's long since gone.
I remember stopping in one in Kimball, West Virginia, and
Oh wow.
wondering how somebody makes a living selling model train parts in a place that small.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's West Jefferson. And they had lowered the headlight on I guess that's the 396, maybe. Yep. Already by then. So 382 still had the high headlight.
Well, I've admitted several people since we got started. So for those of you that are just coming in, don't worry. We're going to run it again after this and take it apart in a little bit more detail. So glad to have you on board.
And I can only imagine, given the grades on that line, what it was like to be the fireman hand firing those engines with no stokers.
Can you say 13 scoops around the box?
Every mile.
Taking on a little water.
Yeah. It's a Texas and New Orleans boxcar from
That's right, yeah.
Southern Pacific. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd see a lot of SP cars on that line. I don't know what shipper used them or where they were headed, but they were pretty common, I guess.
So what town are we in now?
This would be West Jefferson, I suppose.
Yeah, I would guess West Jefferson. I don't know for sure.
Nice looking little village.
But yeah, I can't think of a town along that line that's any bigger other than it doesn't look like Damascus does today. So I'd say, yeah, West Jefferson.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing the return run now.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're double heading.
Yeah. Disproving my theory that didn't happen. So.
Well, if we see the bridges collapse, we'll know you were right.
Oh, yeah, you were right, yeah. Yeah, the stacks are clear, so yeah, you can tell they're have more downgrades, I guess. Nella.
Rail crane. That's Nella.
Yep. Town
All right.
Old Winston.
Somebody tell me where Nella is relative to the other places.
I recall that it was near Lusk, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much there now, but yeah, that I think now where are we coming up to now?
Right.
White top.
White top. I was going to say, yeah, it wasn't Damascus.
Well, there you go. So Nella's between White Top and
West Jefferson.
West
Yeah.
Jefferson.
West Jefferson. Yeah. All right. Got it.
And it's amazed how in the 45, 47 years since they abandoned the railroad, how much of that territory has grown over now, just if you ride it along the trail.
Yeah, it's you don't have the vistas like you do now.
Used to, yeah.
Mother Nature is a extraordinarily powerful force.
Yep.
Just playing around up around the Pokey, where I'm most interested in, Switchback and those places. It's grown up amazingly in
Yeah.
not that many years.
Yep. No, I think that's Taylor's Valley. It's kind of in a little valley there, you know. Little depot that looks like a shanty.
Yeah. Yeah, really, it was really more like a waiting shed, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's an old N&W. Well, there is an N&W maintenance away camp car that's there now along the trail. So I noticed last summer. So it's off the trucks, but you don't really know what you're looking at until you see the sign.
Some of that wood that there was in the gondola looks like it's ties that haven't been creosoted yet.
Yeah.
So now the excursion part of the train is reversed.
Reversed.
That's right.
Yep.
The RPO was on the end. It was going to make that catch there back at Nella.
Yeah.
After the Gons went by it. Don't want to stick your head out too far.
So how'd they turn the engines?
I think there was a Y there. I don't think they had.
Yeah. There was a Y at West Jefferson, I think.
Okay.
There may have been one, depending on the line was kind of weird at Damascus. It kind of took a left right after the deep on, so there may have been one there as well.
Well, that's coming into
That's Abingdon.
Yeah, that was I don't know. That was either the Birmingham Special or the Pelican or something like that.
Yeah,
It
I
had
think
a
it had
60-foot RPO on it.
Southern equipment
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah. Well, pretty much everything going down that way
Right
had
on that
Southern
line,
equipment.
yeah. Except for the local. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tennessean had the most streamlined equipment, but the other ones I think got the Southern's hand me
Oh,
down.
look at that train board. Nice
Yeah.
and full.
Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure this is 1957, but the board says 56. Did they just not take time to re-letter it?
That could
Well,
be.
I'd go with what's on the sign.
Well, now,
You need to see what September 30th was, whether it was a Saturday
Yeah.
or Sunday.
one hint may be the local trains 9 and 10 are still on there. I think they were gone by 57, so it may have actually been 56. He spliced some footage in there.
Okay.
Well, maybe so, but it looks like the convention folks have gotten off the train and now they're going to
Yep.
catch the train back up to Roanoke.
Yep, that's Abingdon.
So that's making sense.
Yeah,
So this is probably 42 or 18.
yeah. This is looking west. He's running east here, coming into Abingdon. Yeah, that looks like the Tennessean from the streamlined equipment. So yeah, that's
60-foot RPO right behind the tender.
yep. Yeah, I think that's the Tennessean. Naturally, I have to model a railroad where most of the trains ran at night, or a lot of them did. Yep, that's the Tennessean, I think.
So now you're showing pictures on the main line going back up towards Roanoke.
Yep.
It's nice that they let them get into the Dutch door and open it.
Yeah,
That's a nice shot of the position light signals there too,
yeah.
even though a little blurry.
And I can't
Can't
tell
take
if
that
that's
picture anymore.
there are my spark arresters.
Yeah, that's what you think of when you see an N&W pole line.
Yep.
Those are all your poles, Mike.
Yeah.
Looks like for this part of it, he just picked out some good curves where you could see the train.
Train, yeah.
That's what I would do.
Well, I
Yeah.
think, yeah. And plus that, the film's expensive, so you just can't
Well, yeah,
shoot the
burn
whole
it. Yeah,
distance back to Roanoke.
yeah. Now I wonder if that was 56 because by 57 the Tennessean had lost a couple of cars. It was starting to thin out a little bit, so maybe they added a couple for the convention in
It could be.
57. I don't know. Yeah, it's Roanoke.
Yeah. Don't see yellow markers anymore either.
Yeah, love that green door. And I guess that's a brakeman riding on the tender there.
Yeah, I guess they're going to pull off some of the equipment.
Okay, does anybody recognize this? There's a Southern E unit consist sitting over to the right there.
That'd be Bristol.
Okay, cause
Either that or Monroe.
No, that's not Bristol. I don't remember the bridge at Bristol like that or that lineup. Yeah, I think that's either
Maybe
Monroe,
Monroe.
Monroe or Lynchburg. Well, same thing, I guess.
well,
But
it's I believe it's somewhere on the Southern because the signals that you'll see in a minute are not N&W signals. I believe they're Southern signals. So
yeah, that's
catch a
Monroe.
glimpse in a
This
minute.
is Monroe because they're pulling off the N&W power and they're going to
Yep.
put the Southern
Southern
power on
power.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, the place you
Monroe's
would have.
nothing now. I mean, you go there, you can't even tell that there was a railroad in there other than one track.
Oh wow.
And it looks like it's a 4-unit diesel. It's got
Yeah.
two
Yes,
A units on either end and then a couple B units in the middle.
yes, it had units.
That's definitely a Southern signal.
You
Yep.
definitely Southern switcher.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a vestibule. Well, what they called the vestibule, that was the crew dormitory, had a
Yeah,
snack
okay.
bar in it.
Huh.
This is where they would split the trains. If they had a train that was in later years when you combine the Pelican and the Peach Queen together, they'd split the train. Peach Queen went further south along the Southern, and the Pelican went down the N&W.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's highballing north.
Yep. Yeah, that's not an N&W pole line for sure.
Yeah, no, that's Southern Railway all the way.
Double track and everything.
It was double track all the way from Atlanta to Washington or to Alexandria.
All right.
And,
Well, that was our first pass, and like I said, I saw half a dozen people come on board 15 or 20 minutes in. So I personally got no problem with running through it again. I know some people may not want to see it over again, but what I'd like to do is have everybody unmute and just yell out when they want me to stop and talk about a given scene. And we can see if we can add anything to what we did on the first run through. How's everybody feel about this? Do you think it's a enjoyable, worthwhile thing to do?
Yes, sir.
I've enjoyed it. The
All
price
right.
of admission was great.
What's
Okay.
that?
Price of admission was great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, no popcorn.
Yeah. If you had sent some virtual popcorn, that would have made it perfect.
All right. Well, like I said, if everybody will, who wants to yell and have us stop, will unmute, we can run through again and talk about anything anybody wants to talk about on the second pass.
Okay. Now I have since you took a little bit of a break here, I actually found Miracle of Miracles, my track chart from 1930 on the Abingdon branch. So
Excellent.
we can find out where those bridges are, maybe. So
All right. We talked about the first time this being central of Jersey, and the photographer must have ridden this
Yeah.
down, or some reason he wanted to shoot this on his way down to Abingdon. So
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. You had an NKP gun in there on the Jersey Central, so I guess it was a long way from home. So there we go, Abingdon. And I kit bashed the model of that station when I first got married 30 odd years ago. So
oh wow.
I should have scratch built it, but I'm no Mike Rector, I have to admit.
Oh, but then nobody is.
True.
That's fortunate.
There's the
So
deep.
Frank, you said they're using that, or they used that freight station as an artist studio for a while.
Yeah.
Well, that's what its current use is.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh,
it's still
okay.
is. Yeah, the passenger depot, it was
It was
the
a
town's,
historical society, and I think they moved out, and
they
I'm not
moved
sure what
out.
happened. They used to have some old Winston Link photographs in there.
Yeah, it's kind of, I was through there
There's
last
the
year.
RPO.
It was closed. Looked like there were a couple of small businesses like dress shops in there. In the 30 years ago, the police department was in there when it first got rehabbed. They took it over, and then the historical society took it. Yep, that's where the main breaks off. Right there, just in Abingdon, you can see the old water tank there, the steel water tank right at the junction. That's kind of where the trail starts today.
So is the M that's on display right at that junction as well?
Yes. Yeah, the water tank would have been just west of there, like a couple of 100 feet west of there. So
All right.
now I think that which town was that? That was a few miles west of Abingdon. It wasn't Taylor's Valley, it wasn't Creek Junction. Alvarado, I think, was that town where the depot we just saw was.
All right. Was there a pretty substantial bridge between Alvarado and Abingdon? It looked like somebody shot a pretty nice bridge in there.
Let me look here. I'm looking at the track chart. There was a 99-foot, well, there was an 832-foot bridge. Yeah, just a mile from Alvarado
All
on
right.
the side. So, yeah, 832 feet. There are a couple others, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep, that would have been bridge number 11.
So this must have been like a photo run by or something, let everybody out in the field and then.
Yeah, that they probably were. Yeah, pretty happy to cooperate like that. Now, would that have been an RPO clerk hanging out the mail apartment, Frank?
Yes, it was. Yep.
Okay.
I guess he wanted to get his few minutes of fame there.
Fame too. Yeah, yeah.
Plus that it wasn't air conditioned, so you get a little fresh air.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is Damascus. That church is still there. You can still see. You come along that highway on the trail coming into town there. There's Elvis.
Yeah. I like that shirt that boy's wearing, man.
I want to say, I don't know if that house is still there, but man, right on that main road coming into Damascus, yeah, a lot of those places are still there. The depot and the freight station are long gone. There's a park there now, if I recall right. And somebody rolled a caboose in there, not an N&W one right there on the trail. There's a 382. So that might well have been 56 before they lowered the headlight.
I'm going to have to do some more research and figure out which is right. I just assumed since it was titled the 57 convention that it was 57.
Yeah, because the headlights was lowered. I think, well, they would have ended steam by 57, but the headlight was lowered by then, so I'm not for sure. Wish Ed King were on here. I could ask him. Man, they cleaned up the 382 a little bit. Somebody rubbed some kerosene on it to clean it up for that run.
That's a pretty bridge.
Yep, yeah, I think that's just on the outskirts of well, what then would have been the outskirts of Damascus. And Damascus, for what it's worth, is milepost 16 from Abingdon.
I think I saw a shot labeled A16. It was either in this video or another one.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So that would have been about right. Yeah. Man, in 1930, when my track chart shows there was a little branch that went about a mile outside of Abingdon. I never realized that just looking at it many times as I've looked at that chart.
Wow.
The
Wonder what
Beaver,
it went to.
the Beaver Dam branch. Apparently, as far as I can see, it just went about a mile out of town to Laureldale. I don't see it. There may have been one siding on it, but that was about it. They had some traffic source there, I guess.
It was
Yeah.
probably a logging camp.
Yeah. Man, I look at those passenger cars, reminds me of that what color was N&W red argument. At least they're pretty close to the same, but
Look pretty brown to me.
Yeah,
yep,
I was gonna say
yep,
it doesn't look too much like the 300 is painted today.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Guessing it's getting dark and
yep, yeah,
shift.
yeah,
I do see some red hats, but they don't look bright red. They look kind of
yeah, yeah.
brown shit.
Although Reverend Jim and the old head swore the color wasn't PRR Tuscan red, which that looks like. So,
For sure.
and Tom Dressler used to say 1975 Chrysler Vintage Red. Dead
Yeah,
on.
that was the standard for a while. I remember.
Yeah, I may have a bottle somewhere in my layer of junk. I got a bottle or two of that around here. So.
Pat Ryan gave me a baby food jar full at a
Oh wow,
convention one time, man.
wow.
I
Whatever
was
happened to him? I haven't seen him at conventions in years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, always wanted to learn more about his layout. He had that photo in MR, the Tennessean, years ago. He was ahead of his time. Oh yeah, we're getting up into the
He was a
hills.
good fella.
Yeah, yeah. I think that may be coming into Taylor's Valley around that big curve there. It's one of the few wide open spaces in a curve there. And for a branch line, that baby was pretty well maintained.
W took care of all of its lines.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't say that. Of course, that's the thing. As long as it was generating freight, it may have had a slow speed restrictions.
Speed restriction, yeah. Yeah, I think they were 25 or 35 miles. I'm looking at my track chart. Most of the rail looks like it was installed in this is 1930. It was installed in 1904 to 26. So. There's Creek Junction. So Creek Junction would have been milepost 27.
So by the name Junction, did a branch cut off from there or what?
I don't know. It was going by 1930. There was just like a stub in siding there then, but yeah, when that line was built, there were several branches that didn't survive.
Okay.
But much into the era of motion picture film. So there
Gotcha.
may well have been.
Gotcha.
I'd have to dig further into the pile of junk here to figure that out.
I like that one person's got the anti-cinder equipment on there.
Man, the pop valve's lifting there. The fireman's working. Man, looking at the track chart, yeah, coming out of Creek Junction, man, that's a pretty steep uphill grade. Looks like up to 1.66% right out of there. So yeah,
Wow.
he's working.
He was humping.
Yeah. It's pretty much uphill to Green Cove. Better to be ahead of it than behind it.
Yeah.
All right. So
There's our double bridge.
where are we there? Okay, I'm looking here. Let's see. We aren't to White Top. Where are the bridges? Where are the bridges? Well, looks like bridge 58 and 59 were right next to each other. Let's see. Actually, there were between Creek Junction and White Top, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 bridges. So 8 bridges, actually. So yeah. That's only 4 miles. So yeah, 8 good-sized bridges and 4 miles. I don't know. Yeah, there were a couple that were so close together. Bridge 52 and 53 looked the closest there. They're on the track chart. So one's 300 feet long, the other's 193 feet long. So I'm going to say, yeah, it may have been bridges 52 and 53.
Okay.
They were right on top of each other. There's Green Cove, milepost 30, between 30 and 31. And I wonder what that tender came off of. They're using for water storage, probably.
Yeah. Much more
We used to
recently,
have a lot of tenders too.
you had gons with big tanks built onto them
Yep.
for water storage.
Yeah. There's White Top, 4 miles up the line, almost 4. In 1930, they had looked like a double-ended sidings on both sides of the main there, so that was interesting. Yeah, they call White Top the track chart the highest point on the N&W.
Really?
Elevation 3,577 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I always understood, that White Top was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Never seen so many engineers' caps.
Well, you know those rail fans.
Yeah. We're an interesting lot.
Some of those are solid denim, unlike the striped denim, I guess.
So, Mike,
And just,
are those just single support, diagonal support arms, or am I missing something on those phone lines?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's only one cross arm.
Yeah, but the diagonal support looks like it looks non-symmetric to me.
Well, they only need one just to keep it from going up or down. Keep it
Makes
at
a triangle,
right
right?
angle to the
yeah,
pole.
yeah.
All right.
Let's see, that looks like Nella.
Taking on some freight.
Yeah. LCL. So Nella would have been between mileposts 39 and 40. Yeah. And they note all they had there was a shed, which makes sense. Yeah. I'm wondering where their water tower is. Let's see. I don't see a water tower at Nella.
Right above the car there.
Oh, West Jefferson. Okay. Yeah.
It was dark, but you could make it out.
Yep. Yeah, but I don't think that was Nella. I don't see one marked on the track chart. Let's see. And I see on the track chart a lot of unimproved state roads there in those days, 1930. Yeah, West Jefferson had a water tank. So, yeah, I guess we are in West Jefferson. Yeah, West Jefferson would have been 55.8 milepost.
So how long did it take to make that run usually? Does anybody know?
You
Well, it's in an employee timetable. I could look it up.
yeah,
Oh, it was just passing curiosity on my part.
I want to say they average 15, 20 miles an hour, so 55 miles or about 3, 4 hours, I think.
Okay, sounds
I'll look
about
at
right.
something and let you know in a minute.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the trains that went down to the Abingdon branch, they originated in Bristol. They would go up from Bristol up to Abingdon, and then they go down the line and vice versa because there was no engine facilities at Abingdon.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
and interesting, they ran it as the train. Yeah, it left Bristol, but they didn't officially put it on the timetable. It was an extra from Bristol to Abingdon, and they didn't sell tickets. If you were trying to ride it, you'd have to get on at Abingdon if you were a passenger. I don't know why they did, because the train began in Bristol, so it was kind of
Yeah, it was considered to be a deadhead movement.
yeah. That okay. Here we are. What year was this? Found a book of timetables. 3 hours and 45 minutes. They carted it from Abingdon to West Jefferson. Coming back, it was about the same, 3 hours and 25 minutes.
All right. So better part of 4 hours.
Yeah, yep. Looks like they showed up almost a dozen stops. So yeah, it took a while. They didn't switch every town, I guess, but they had a boatload of towns marked in the timetable. So and they noted in the 1946 timetable that regularly assigned cars were air conditioned. I don't know how that worked since it was a mixed train, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
you're
you open
rolling
the
along.
yeah.
The mail route schedule for that railway post office is the Abingdon and West Jefferson RPO.
Okay.
In 1954, the schedule of train 201 departed Abingdon at 7:30 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
Damascus 8:20, 10:39 at Lansing,
Yep.
10:51 Warrensville,
Yep.
11:15 at West Jefferson. Then you had a layover there of about an hour coming back on as train 202,
Mm-hmm.
departing West Jefferson at 12:15, Warrensville, at 12:31, 12:49 at Lansing, 2:46 at Damascus, 3:40 back at Abingdon, and it was daily except Sunday service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 1946 timetable I was looking at, yeah, the same exact schedule. So yeah, it
I'm
didn't
sure it didn't change very much.
change much. Yeah, yeah. Man, there's Nella in the shed.
Yeah, that's definitely tobacco over there, Mike. You were talking
Yeah.
about. They got it
And that was the
staked in the
catcher
field.
arm. Catcher arm had a pouch, and the RPO was behind the gondolas, so it was going to make a catch.
State line sign there.
Yeah.
There's a picture someone made. So we're at White Top here. There's the crossover bridge, and there's that siding that
Yep.
I mentioned earlier. The passing sidings were on the left and right hand side of the main.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. They had two of them. Yeah, they had a little. You can still see parts. They had like a freight dock just east of the depot. There it was kind of like a deck almost. You can still see the footings of it there. So. Man, I remember Ed King telling me, and I think he wrote about it in one of the magazines too. When they got to Abingdon, they'd run extra to Bristol, and they've got those little 480s on it. But every now the dispatchers used to not be afraid. Yes, Taylor's Valley. the dispatchers weren't afraid to let that little mixed train out ahead of one of the passenger trains into Bristol. So I guess those 480s could move if need be.
A standard N&WHS shed there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, looks like.
Treated railroad ties as well. That somebody.
And I'm looking at my track chart here. I was trying to figure out the rail weight. Looks like a lot of that rail back in 1930, at least, was still 85-pound a yard rail, which makes sense, I guess. It's probably relay rail from the main lines. Good old Abingdon. And I need to get down there to see if they've rebuilt that pedestrian bridge there. Some person plowed into the corner of it by the depot and took it out. I think they had to rebuild it.
When did that happen?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
It was quite the talk of the town for a while. Yeah, number 10 are on there, and I think they're still in that shot. So yeah, they were gone by 57, I think.
I can't explain the discrepancy here. I'm going to have to see if I can figure out what's going on.
Well, I go with the sign.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it does look like that 6 has been added to it doesn't look like it's the same exact
Yeah.
form as the other numerals. So I assume they would have kept it up to date.
Yeah. If nothing else, 9 and 10 off when they pull those trains off. But yeah. Comes the Tennessean.
60-foot RPO behind the locomotive.
And I guess I need to build some of my NKP car kits one of these days for that train.
So we're Roanoke bound again.
Yep. Yeah, by that date, he may have been hanging out the last vestibule on that train.
Looks they got 4 cars or more in a pure Tennessean set.
Yeah. Yeah, they may have had 2 sleepers that day, it looks like. He's east of Radford at that point somewhere.
Like he's coming down off the mountain.
Sounds like Tim Hensley.
Yeah, Tim Hensley live and in the flesh.
Yeah. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I think we could have answered all these questions if you joined earlier, Tim.
That's right.
I doubt it.
We're stumbling in the darkness here.
Yeah.
And those diaphragms are pretty cool on that sleeper there.
That's 1A.
Yeah.
That was the only engine I ever rode in live service.
Huh.
I rode one from the belt line over here in Canova up to the bridge and back.
So you guys say this is Monroe?
Yep.
Monroe, yeah.
Yeah, it ain't Bristol.
It makes sense. So you see the southern units there, they're ready to
Yep.
swap the
Wow.
power.
Yeah, it looks like a Southern caboose on that freight too. So
And it passes the yard office there on the left after this scene. It's on the left. There was a snack bar, a bunch of vending machines on the left of it called the vestibule.
Huh.
whatever happened to Bill Cox? His layout in Lynchburg was open when we had the convention up there. He had a neat Southern Railway layout, but he had a website for a minute, but I never heard anything more about it. He was building a neat model of the Southern in there. He had to build it on his farm there, so he was building a layout in.
Southern Signal.
Well, was that a Baldwin switcher there, or A&D?
The Southern had some Baldwins, but I don't know
Yeah,
enough about diesels to be able to say.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
How many miles north of Lynchburg proper was Monroe? Frank, do you know that?
It was something like about 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good convention we had up there, whenever it was, 2002, something like that.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I can imagine the number of people that turn out if you had something like that as a convention. They'd be
Frank.
coming in droves.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right, folks. Well, that's what we had for the show this evening. I hope everybody enjoyed looking at it. I certainly enjoyed hearing the commentary and learning a lot more than I knew about the Abingdon branch. If everybody likes this and wants to continue, I would propose that we do about one of these every month.
Yeah.
Is Sunday night as good as any other time for you guys, or is there a better time?
Yeah, it's about as good as any.
Fine for me.
All right. What I'll do then is I'll keep adding to my list of videos, and we'll use this same format. We'll run through it, make a few comments, and then if there's interest, we'll go back and make another pass and start picking it apart a little bit in a little bit more detail.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks
Any,
for running it, Jim.
Say again?
Thanks for running this show,
Yeah,
Jim.
thank you.
Oh,
Thanks.
well, sure. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. Any suggestions, recommendations for how to do it better, differently, or whatever, just let me know and I'll try to accommodate us. But
Just
I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did. And
FedEx some popcorn to everybody's house prior to.
yeah, I should have FedExed. Yeah, I should have overnighted popcorn.
What's the
I'll try
popcorn?
to. What's that?
What's the popcorn budget look like?
Yeah.
I'll try to do better next month.
Don't forget to stop the recording so that then you get the file and then you can post it on the website.
Yep, I will do that right now if I can get to it again. It was in more.
Should be something that says stop recording.
Yeah, pause/stop and